Good morning. Last day of January, last day of the work week. It's Friday, January 31st, and it's 6:02 in the morning here in Western Iowa. And just a programming note, I'm moving to Texas today, so I'll be driving, I don't know, 10 hours, all that stuff. And my internet's not going to be hooked up until Monday afternoon, so I might miss the next couple mornings. I may try to record I may record Sunday morning and see if I can upload with my hotspot from my phone. So we'll see if that goes. But I'm definitely going to miss tomorrow because I'll probably be sleeping or something, moving into my new apartment in North Texas, north of Dallas. So that'll be exciting, and I'll keep you posted as we go. But meanwhile, we do have some weather to talk about. We're looking to the west, specifically the Pacific Northwest. For this following week, it's going to be cold and snowy even at the low elevations. But first, we start in the high elevations in our weather spotlight, Sierra Nevada mountains here. This is through Tuesday. So Wednesday, 6Z, that's midnight Tuesday night, Central Time. And massive amounts of snow. It's just hard to tell on here, but all of that bright yellow or even white on there is in some places over 100 inches of snow between now and the end of Tuesday. So it's just going to be massive. Meanwhile, our weather spotlight continues. This is through the end of the week for the Pacific Northwest. And by the end of the week, next week, a foot of snow in Portland, Oregon, is that possible? A foot of snow down there in Eugene? I mean, this is what the GFS model is currently saying. So probably 3 snowstorms for the Willamette Valley coming, and it could add up. So this is not a specific forecast, but just an idea of what might be happening over the next 8, 9, 10 days for Oregon and Washington at the lower elevations, all the way down to the coast. All right, this morning, Pacific Northwest, pretty active. We do see lots of winter storm warnings for the mountains of, the Cascades, Northern California, parts of the Sierra, all the way into Idaho, Montana, into Wyoming and Utah. Also, winter weather advisories scattered throughout. Some wind stuff going on too. Wyoming, in particular, up there in Montana, and also for California, Nevada. And then you get into Northern California, atmospheric river, flood watch in effect, including San Francisco. So just a lot going on in the west, as it's going to be storm after storm after storm. We're back to that pattern. And then we go into the Midwest, and we do have some flooding issues perhaps for Illinois into parts of, like, say, southeastern Iowa and into West Virginia too. So it could be heavy enough rain for some flooding issues, and then it's snow up there, Pennsylvania, New York, into western Connecticut and western Massachusetts. Current conditions out there, it's warm. We have our big upper level low tracking across Texas, and then ahead of that, we see those dew points and those temperatures rising in the southeast. So dew points and temperatures in the 60s this morning, say for Alabama, all the way up into Tennessee, and that warm air bubbling all the way up into the Great Lakes. But it's cold, that trough being dug out in the west. So it's colder west, warmer east, although Maine hanging on to teens this morning. Your surface looks like this. Maybe some icing with that warmer air across Michigan into New York State, parts of Pennsylvania. Further south, it's rain, maybe heavy rain, West Virginia, Illinois. And further south from that, scattered showers and thunderstorms for the southeast down to Florida. And then the west, it's the opposite. Rain and snow depending on elevation and location. Heavy snow for the mountains of the west. And could see some heavy rain in California. That's certainly going to be depicted more here on tomorrow's surface, atmospheric river. So just a bit long fetch of moisture from the Pacific going right into San Francisco. So heavy rain, and that will translate to heavy snow in the higher elevations of the Sierra Nevada, particularly as that cold front you see draped in Oregon moves southward. It's going to drop those snow levels in the Sierra Nevada. Meanwhile, Oregon and Washington just getting pounded with snow, even along the coast range, as those snow levels drop there. And inland, of course, heavy snow, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and parts of Nevada. So it's going to be a crazy time of it over the next week and a half. Meanwhile, the next 2 days of precipitation, there's your heavy rain, West Virginia, lighter amounts further south with scattered storms. There's your heavy rain and snow for the Pacific Northwest. And again, for the Sierra Nevada, that's 4+ inches of liquid equivalent. And you throw in what is snow. And a lot of that's going to be rain starting out in the Sierra Nevada, but until those snow levels drop. So the next 2 days, the snow's just at the highest peaks there in the Sierra Nevada. But snow levels starting to drop, as you can tell, in western Washington, northwestern Oregon, and that colder air is going to continue to sink south. And quite a bit of snow for Idaho, but still the smiley face. That's going to change too. Boise going to get snow out of all this, and into Wyoming as well. Sunday, we do see the southern progress of that cold front into Northern California, but still the atmospheric river too. So a lot of rain, Northern California. Could be some flooding issues here, and a lot of snow, Oregon, Washington, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, and starting to stretch into the plains now, and warming up in the Great Lakes with rain and snow. Instead of just snow and lake effects though. All right, let's show our work here on which I did not get prepared here at all. So let me switch this real quick. All right, here we go. Starting out this morning, here's your rain for southern Iowa. I missed this here in western, more west central. So southern Iowa getting a good soaking, which is nice. And it's also nice if I don't move my mouse. And then we have some rain here into the mid-Atlantic on south into southeast. And a big storm moving into the Pacific Northwest. That's heavy rain, Northern California, all the way through the Oregon and Washington coast, translating to snow in the Cascades. And that just continues. Pretty high snow levels. But we're starting to see that cold air now sink southward as we get into tomorrow. This is tomorrow morning. Heavy rain, Northern California, but starting to turn to snow in northwestern Washington. And as that colder air sinks in, we're going to start to see more snow on this map, although lighter amounts. And maybe a little system here for Wisconsin. They could use the snow. They haven't had a lot this year. Moving into Michigan, heavy rain for Northern California, colder air sinking south. So the Pacific Northwest, even in the Willamette Valley, some light snow for Sunday up to Seattle, the Olympic Peninsula, of course, and inland too. Boise getting snow Sunday. So it's going to be a colder time of it, kind of winter finally visiting the Pacific Northwest, even at the lower elevations. So that's going to continue into next week. Kind of breaks in the precipitation, but the cold air is here. The heavy rain turning to snow in Northern California, Central California. And we're starting to see a little bit more cold air sink southward into the northern plains, upper Midwest as we get into next week. So this gets us into Tuesday. A lot of snow for the west and interior, a little bit of rain moving down Central California coast and even down into the LA basin a little bit. And then Wednesday, another system bringing snow to the Willamette Valley down to the Oregon coast. And we do see some more rain busting out here in the Mid-South, moving into the Virginias, and some icing perhaps north of that. This gets us into Thursday, so we're almost, this is 6 days out. And so some heavy rain here. So warm on the east, cold in the west. So maybe some heavy rain as we get into Thursday. We're starting to see another system here off the coast of Oregon and Washington. And as that pushes into the cold air, instead of scouring out the cold air, it's going to mix with the cold air and bring some heavy snow for parts of the Willamette Valley. More snow for the Sierra Nevada, rain at the lower elevations, snow for eastern Oregon, snow into Idaho, and heavy snow moving up the northern Willamette Valley. This is Friday of next week. And this is a big player in that foot of snow, according to the GFS, and still snowing into next weekend. So a week from tomorrow, before it's finally going to warm up, if I move far enough ahead in this map. Meanwhile, we get into Sunday the 9th, maybe some more snow here for the upper Midwest, rain further south, and then maybe the fortunes change here for the plains, where maybe we'll see some snow eventually in Iowa. But here's that Pacific Northwest storm by Monday the 10th. Enough of a southerly flow to scour out the cold air and bring rain on top of that snow, and you can start saying goodbye to that snow for the Pacific Northwest. And then just kind of for fun, moving ahead, big ice storm for Iowa on the 13th. Rain and snow, freezing rain and snow, 13th and 14th, and another one here by the 15th. So we'll see if all that comes true. That's getting kind of far out there. But speaking of far out there, your 8 to 10 day temperature possibilities. It's turning colder northwest and west and into the Central Plains even as we get to the 7th to the 13th, second week of February. And precipitation-wise, most of the country with at least a chance of above average precipitation. The exceptions, the Southwest and for Florida. So a quick look at your forecast. I'm driving to Texas today, so I'm off tomorrow while I'm moving into my apartment. We'll see if I can get something uploaded by Sunday. I hope so. In the meantime, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon right here on the Weather Mic.